Shreevallabha is an aspiring engineer with an entrepreneur mind, having a vision of for social. He is an intern in firmware embedded systems, IoT, and app developer in Thinkfinity Labs. Vishnu Sai loves to explore and discover web development and artificial intelligence. He is also an enthusiast of emerging technology. Today, they will be conducting a session on how to get started with Dart. In this session, you will learn about Dart and its features and go through a small fun session for an 1.5 hour, over 1.5 hours. So over to you, Vallabha and Vishnu.
Vishnu, can you unmute your mic? Yeah, I guess the mic is muted.
Vallabha and Vishnu, your
Yeah.
mics are muted.
I'm muted.
Yeah, sorry. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to see you all here with lot of energy and excitement to learn. Today, Mr. Shreevallabha and myself, Vishnu Sai Boonsley, are going to take the sections on Dart programming language. Let's get started. So, what is Dart and why do we need Dart? Dart is an open source general purpose programming language which is developed by Google. And why do we need Dart? Dart is a client optimized language for fast apps on any platform. We can create an optimized UI for apps and predictive development on fast on all platforms like mobile, desktop, and web application backends. So Dart has the following features. Dart is an object-oriented programming language, and the Dart syntax is very similar to our C style syntax. Dart is a transcompile to JavaScript, and it supports interfaces, classes, generics, and etc. So, contents of the today's section: learn about the basic syntax of a programming language, and the concepts such as variables, loops, and learn about the object-oriented programming in Dart. So let's get started with our section. So the Dart language supports the following types: numbers, strings, booleans, list, and maps. So we have in numbers we have two types of data variables, int and double. So int is for integers and double for decimals. For strings we use string type. For booleans we use bool. Let's take in a hands-on section. So please visit this website. So in Dart, as we all know that the comments are very important in each and every programming language because it will use the description of your code. So in Dart language, we use double slash for single line comments. For multiple line, we use slash star slash star slash for multiple lines. And it is very similar to the C. As we already said, it's very similar to the C language. So we use main function. Now we are going to write our first line of code. Print REVA HACK. 2020. So we write our first line of code, and it's very similar to our C style syntax. So we are now going to declare the variables int, and we are going to play with our integer types by doing the various mathematical operations. So int a is equals to 10 and int b equal to 20. So we are going to add this a and b in our C type. And now we are going to add a decimal using double. Now we are going to add our D and C under double variable, because the output, what we are going to get is a decimal. So let's check. So let's check the variable C, and let's check the variable D. And now we are going to print our decimal value, what we added to 30. Have you all able to see this?
Yes, Vishnu.
Thank you. So now we are going to compile our string data types. So we use cap s, and we are going to use a plus b is equals to in a string format. So I'm going to print ab, and we are going to print e. So a plus b is equals to 35.4. So why can't we take in a single line? Is it possible to take? Yeah. Here the concept of interpollination will comes to the action. So what is the interpollination of a string? So the process of creating a new string by appending a value to a static string is termed as interpollination. So we are going to use the interpollination method. So print ab plus single quotes dollar bracket, and we are going to use semicolon. So as we know, so we have it came into a single line. We have used the interpollination method to implement this thing. Now we are going to discuss about the conditional statement. So conditional statement. So what is a condition statement? Like if we gave a condition, so if the condition is true, what's going to be executed? If the condition is false, then what's going to be executed? So we have using the condition statement to check whether the results are up to our expectation or not. What if it's not up to our expectation? What will it's going to do? So let's so we are going to write a simple program to check the conditions, to check the highest in three number, to check the highest in three variables. So now a condition, I'm going to check A is greater than B. Print A is greater than C. Here we are going to use double quotes. So yeah, A is greater than B because the B value is 5 and A value is 10. What if B value is greater than A? What going to be executed? So in this case we are going to use else. Else will execute the command if the given condition is false. So here we are going to print and here we are going to print A. So B is greater than A. So I am giving the B value as 50 now, and the condition what we gave is false. So it's going to print B is greater than A. So B is greater than A. Okay. We have done for the two variables. What about the third variable? What if we have more than two variables? How we are going to implement? So here the operators, logical operators comes to the place. We use double and A is greater than C. Then it's going to print A is greater than B and C. And here we are going to take one more thing, nested statement. Else if B is greater than A, double and B is greater than C, then it's going to print so B is greater than A and B. So B is greater than A and C. What if it's A and B are not greater than C? Then it will directly print C is greater than A and B. And this is a simple program to determine which one of the variables is highest. So I'm changing the values to 300, 200, and 100. So now A value is 100 and B value is 200, but C value is 300. So we are going to run a program now. So C is greater than A and B. What if the C value is lesser than B? Then it will going to state that B is greater than A and C. What if B is less than A and C and C is less than A? Then our output is going to be A is greater than B and C. So this is how the if conditional loops will play. So now we are coming to the topic of dot loop. So loops are two types, definite and indefinite. In definite type we have a for loop, in indefinite type we have a while loop and do while loop. So how we are going to use this thing? So like if you use for loop, if you want to print the numbers from 1 to 100, you're not going to type print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, right? It will waste your time. Instead of that, you can use the for loop to print from 1 to 100 by giving a single line of command. How we are going to do? So and now we are going to do a for loop, basic for loop, and this is the basic syntax of the for loop. And here we are going to give the conditions, and here we are going to give the execution code, what we want to execute. So I'm writing where I equal to 0, semicolon, I plus plus, sorry, I is 100, semicolon, I plus plus. And now I'm going to print the numbers from 1 to 100. Print I. Are you able to see my screen? Yeah. Here, if we observe, we have a number.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Here we have a number from 0 to 100 while using for loop. We have up to 99. Why? Because we have given the greater than symbol. And we are going to give or equal to, which will help us to print up to 100. Yeah, it's showing up to 100. Yeah. Now we are playing some more stuff with in for loop. Now we are going to determine the factorials of the factorials of number 5 and some more. So we are declaring a where num equal to 5, and we are declaring a where factorial equal to 1. Now we are going to use the condition. Now we are going to change the condition where I is equals to num and I is greater than 1, I minus 1. So, and we are declaring a condition, factorial condition. So we are declaring factorial is equals to factorial is equals to into is equals to I. And now we are going to execute the factorials of number 5. I'm printing the factorials. Yeah, see, I gave a wrong variable. So the factorial of a number 5 is 120. What if you want a number 100? If you want to find out the factorial of number 100, so we are going to change it. It's showing 9.30. Okay. Now how to find whether the factorial of a particular number is even or odd. Now here we are going to use a simple function, conditional statement, to determine whether the factorial of a particular number is even or odd. if the fat excuse me yeah if the factorial number modulus is double equal to 0, then it's print even. Else it will print odd number. So let me clear this thing. So now we are going to run this code. So 120, our odd number, sorry, the factorial what we gave 5 is an even number. The factorial of a 5 is an even. What we if we give a 78? So even 78 is an even number. So this is how we are going to play. And now, so this is how the for loop works. Whenever we execute the code, it will get into initialization, and it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will work in a loop condition. If the condition is false, it will kick outside of the loop, and it will be executed the given task. So now we are going to talk about while loop. So what is while loop? The while loop executes the instruction each time the condition specified evaluates to true. In other words, we can say that the loop evaluates the condition before the block of code is executed. If you observe the diagram, we can see that in while loop we are giving the condition. Under the while loop we are giving the conditional code what need to be executed. So what need to be executed? So we are writing a simple factorial number, and you may check how it differs from the for loop. So I'm just removing the if condition, and I'm going to write a simple code in while loop to determine whether the given number is factorial or not. First we will write the condition. While loop, if num is equals to 1, num is greater than or equal to 1, then the factorial condition. Then the factorial condition. If the fat is equals to fat into number, then we are going to decrement the number num minus semicolon, and we are going to print a factorial. So here we are going to use the interpolation method, right? Print the factorial is interpolation method, and here we go. So we have removed the main bracket, main function bracket. Let's show another. Yes, the factorial of 78 is 1.33. Or if we remove that, if we give 5, so the factorial of number 5 is 120. And how this is how the while loop works. Now we are going to execute the do while loop. So what is do while loop? So what is do while loop and how it's going to be useful? So the do while loop is similar to the while loop, except that do while doesn't evaluate the condition for the first time of looping executes. Whenever we execute the code, for the first time it won't execute, it won't check the condition of given statement. It will directly execute the block of code and then it will check the condition. From the second time, it will check the condition and it will execute the process. This is how it will work. And you may observe the same thing in the diagram. So we are going to write a simple code for that one. Let me remove this. Yeah, I'm going to write a main function, bracket. And I'm going to declare a var n equal to 10. And I'm going to state the block of code which need to be executed. So I'm do bracket print and semicolon. And here I'm going to increment from low value to higher value. I'm going to print from 1 to 100. And here I'm giving the condition while n is greater than or equal to 100. So I'm going to print the numbers from 10 to 100. This is how it will work. Sorry, I have forgot it to be a semicolon. Yeah, it has been printed from 10 to 100. What if I want to in a decrement order from 10 to 1? How to do that? Just simple. It's very simple. Just we are going to use decrement sign to decrease the value. And from 10 to 1, we will print it. Yeah. Has faced some issues. Yeah. So I'm going to execute this. Yeah. So it has been printed our for loop. So similarly, and we have one more topic to be covered. Generics. What are generics? So what is generics? The use of generics enforces a restriction on the data type of the values that can be contained by the collection. Like if I want a collection in which all the characters must be a string, then what we are going to do? So then what we are going to do? So let me explain with an example. So here I'm going to give a list. I'm typing list and a log type. So list is a variable and it is a log type. And I'm declaring the value new list string. So I'm going to add one more type. I'm going to add the strings in the list. So I'm going to use log type string, add it, let it be add. Now I just want to print all the strings in the list. Let me add few more strings before we can. So add code live. So I just want to add these 3 strings in the list format. So now I'm going to execute the command. So I'm going to use the for loop to print all the characters in the list. So and it's showing that it types warning, error, and info. If we have happy, so code, so we print that string in the list. So these are the generics which you need to be known. So from now, the Mr. Shreevallabha will take the sections from here, and he will going to explain about the classes, functions, and inheritance. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu Sai. May someone respond whether you can see my desktop or not? I haven't shared it yet.
Yes.
Now?
Yes, yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Yeah, you can see my browser, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so right now in so the rest of the topics that needs to be discussed is exceptions, functions, classes and objects, inheritance and interfaces. So basically, what is an exception? So when you are not unsure about some block of code, which may result in an error. So in such a situation, you use an exception. So try is a block that you here. Let's do this. Yeah. So try is a block where you write a block of code which you are unsure about. Like it would produce some exceptions. So and you write your code here. So and you catch the exception if it throws any exception. Then if the exception occurs, then how to handle it. So the code which needs to be handled, that you will write it here. So once the code has been executed successfully with an exception or without an exception. So, and in such situations, you'll be using final. Using final, you can write it. You can write the code that needs to be executed whether the code has an exception or not. So yeah, let's try an example. So we have
Excuse me, Vallabha, sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
But we can't see you typing.
you can't see me typing.
Yeah.
Can you see the void main?
No. Void main is also not visible.
Okay, just a second. Just wait a second.
So unshare and share the screen.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sharing the complete desktop. Now?
Yeah, I can see void main. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you see me typing?
Yes. Yeah. Great.
Fine then. So let's try an exception. Let's try a program to create an exception and handle it. So let's take int x as 12 and int y as 0. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna divide 12 by 0. So that will become 12 by 0 is infinity, right? Or interest, whatever it is. So int response. So I don't know, it may produce an exception or not. In such situations, what I do is, so if there is any error, then handle that error. So if there is any error, please print the error. So like that, I'll write. And if so, in try block, what I do is response is equal to x by y. Yeah. Oh well, so the code has been executed, I guess. So if I make y, which is 0, if I make it to infinity, what happens? Let's see. Yeah, so this is unsupported operation. The result of truncating division is infinity. Actually, few programs cannot be executed in Dart is because few programs cannot be executed in the browser version of the Dartpad. Well, you need to install the software so in order to execute few, because for example, if you want to take user input, so user input cannot be given in Dartpad because I have tried it yesterday, but it was not working. So if you want to do such kind of more user inputs or something like that, you need to download the software and then work on it. So let's go. This is a way you need to do the to catch the block of the code which may produce an exception and handle it. So let's go to functions. So functions, we use functions for writing a block of code that repeats again and again. So for that you need to define a function, then you have to call the function wherever you want to do it. Wherever you want to execute this particular block of code again and again. And so you can also define the return type of the function and expect that particular return type. and you can actually make the function parameterized, in the sense like you can expect the user to give the parameter and provide the result, and parameters are actually optional, and you can also produce parameter with default values. So whether the user gives the input parameters or not, the default parameters will always be there. So you can do all these things. So as Vishnu had already explained you how factorial works, I won't explain you how the factorial works and all. Rather than that, I'll just write a block of code and I'll show you how the functions will work. So void main is void main will always be there. So there'll be no change here. So we'll make a function called factorial. You can specify the method, the return type of the factorial function as void or int or anything, or you can even leave it blank. So if we have to take some input, right? So number, if number is the input, if number is lesser than or equals to 0, then do this, else then do something else. So there's one interesting fact that you need to consider. Look here. That is, not only I'm doing, not only I'm creating a function, I'm doing the recursion as well. So this keeps on executing until the number becomes 0, so that it will return 1. And I'll just do print factorial of say my lucky number is 69. So let's take 69 and execute it. Yeah, so you got the answer. So this is how you do, and this is a parameterized function, and you can also there is something called lambda functions. So coming to lambda functions, they're concise mechanism to represent functions. They are also called as array functions. So you need to specify the return type. You need to specify the return type and the function name, and you have to provide the parameters.
Vallabha, I'm sorry to disturb, but again, your screen it's not responsive. I've got a comment also saying that we cannot see anything that you type.
Okay, wait a second.
Could you unshare it and share it again?
Yeah, sure.
Vallabha, can you hear us? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, so you can see my screen. Can anyone respond?
Yeah, I can see.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the typing also, right?
Yeah.
So as I said, in order to create a lambda function, you have to specify the return type, and that is also optional. You have to create the function name, and you have to provide the parameters, and then equal symbol and greater than the symbol. So this will you have to put your expression here. So this creates a lambda function. So let me show you an example. So print hi. So if this is my function, then I can write it as so I can call this print hi function, which is an array function or a lambda function. So this is how you can make use of lambda functions. So yeah, so we are done with exceptions and functions. So now let's go into object-oriented programming, how we can do it with Dart. So you must be knowing about how classes and all, and what is an object and what is a class. So right now let's create a class on a real-world example. So I'll create a class called living area. Yeah, I'll create a class called living area. So if I create a class called living area, obviously I must have some constructors. So that constructors are nothing but when you create an instance, you have to provide few inputs, few parameters, so that can be instantiated. So I'll create a constructor called living area. So I need to have some few attributes like, so in living area, what all do we have? So we have a fan. So bool fan. Why bool is because like fan, you can turn it on or turn it off. So like that. So bool fan and bool tube light. Bool. So what else? TV will be there. So yeah. Now what I do is like I can provide the inputs at the starting itself, like bool fan, bool tube light, bool TV. So now, so when you get the input from here, so you have to save it to this particular instance, right? So this dot fan is equals to fan. This dot tube light is equals to tube light. So this dot TV is equals to TV. So this is how you create the constructor. So now let's take it more interesting. So now in order to create and getters and setters in this particular classes, so fine. So if you want to turn the switch on and off, you need to write a get method. Get methods are nothing but if you want to set something into the set method. If you want to set something into that those particular attributes, then you have to create a method called set fan or set tube light or set TV. So I'll create void set and so it can be anything, true or false. So this dot fan is equals to value. So the same happens for other classes other attributes as well. So I'll just copy paste it. So set fan and set tube light. And tube light is done, fan is done, TV now. So yeah, this is how I can set the tube lights and fan. So let's go and create a white main. So and now we have to create a instance, right? So living area called LA is equals to new living area. This is how you create the create an object. So you have to provide inputs, right? So in the beginning I'll give false, false, false. That means all the switches are turned off. Now if I want to make one particular switch turn on, so set fan, I want to turn the fan on. So what I do is LA dot set fan true. So now I have made the fan turn on, but how do I know whether the fan is turned on or not? So in order to that, you have to write a getter function. So you can know, you can actually get the data of that particular variable. So in order to create a getter function, fine. The return type is bool, right? So bool get fan status. Return this dot fan. So the same happens for the rest all as well. So get fan status, get tube light status, and get TV status. So now I have made the fan turn on, and also I want to check whether it is turned on or not. So once that fan is turned on, I'll make it print LA dot get fan status. So if I run the program, so you can see that I have made the fan to turn on, and I'm getting the status of that fan. It is turned on. Now, if I want to set a tube light turn on, and if I set the tube light turn on, but I'm still looking for the status of the fan. Fan is false, but I made tube light on. So this is how it is. But if you want to check for the tube light, you can replace its tube light. See, I have made tube light to turn on, and I'm looking for the status of it, and it's turned on. So, and this is how you create getters and setters in classes. So, and also to create a constructors and to create a class. Now, let's go and think more bigger. So now classes are done. So living area is a part of a home, right? So since living area is a part of a home, then what I'll do is class home. So I want to inherit this particular living area. So how do I do it? So I do it by using the keyword called extend, and I'll extend this particular living area. So now if I use this particular extend living area, then what happens is, tens of just wait a second. Yeah, so in order to create a class, so you have to remove this particular constructor. So I'm removing this particular constructor. Yeah, now.
Your screen isn't responding again,
Again?
Vallabha. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, wait a second. Now, can you see
Yeah.
me typing?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it. Yeah.
Fine then. We'll go ahead. So since I removed the constructor, then I'm doing this here. So I'll give the status for just before only.
Excuse me, Vallabha, we can't see
Yeah.
again typing.
Oh, why is it happening? I'm seeing me typing.
No.
Why is it happening? Wait, let me change the network and come back.
Yeah, sure.
Chirag,
Yes.
you can see, right?
No, I can't see the cursor moving. No, your voice is also not that audible, not that clear.
Not that clear. Now?
Why don't you try joining from phone for your audio and just share your screen on the laptop?
I
Yeah,
don't think this is possible. Wait, let me try it. Yeah. Now?
yeah. Can you just move your cursor? Because I can't see the cursor moving.
Right now.
Unshare and share it again. Just try it again once
Yeah,
more.
try sharing again.
I'll close the application and try again because probably it's not a problem with respect to my internet. It's a problem with respect to this app. Just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Now?
Yeah, we can see the cursor moving. Can you just speak some because your voice was not audible before.
Now everything is correct, proper, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
are you sharing on your Microsoft Teams now? Because I cannot see anything else.
yeah, that part I can't see.
Which part?
You're just sharing your Microsoft Teams window.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? I have shared the entire screen now.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can see now. Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Fine. So we had a lot of disturbance. Okay. So now I want to inherit this particular class called list area to the home class home. So have it, and now instead of creating a new living area, I can create home and I can same stuff. So if I make this, what happens is like I have created a class called home and I have the set that unit as true and print the same, the status of it. You must set the output as true. Yeah, we have got the output as true. So this is how it is. And now I wanna override some particular method. So how to do overriding? So for example, overriding is nothing but this is a class called living area. So when the fan, I don't want to set the fan on. Instead of setting the fan on, I will make tube on. Getting the point? So if, for example, here what I have made, I have made tubelet as I'm turning the tubelet on, but in the back end, what I do is I don't want to turn the tubelet on. When the person says to turn the tubelet on, I'll make the fan turn on. In order to create that kind of, in the sense, so this is an application of overriding. So how to override this particular method called set tubelet? So it have to write override void.
Are you sharing your screen? Because we cannot see your screen.
Yes.
I'm sharing my screen.
We can't
Yeah.
see.
I myself can't see my screen on my phone. Oh, boy, what's happening? Now,
No.
It's loading.
loading. Well, I myself can't see the screen.
Yeah, I can just, yeah.
I changed from two of my hotspots. From this, I had two hotspots, so I just changed both. I don't know why. What's happening?
If Vishnu has the content as well, he can share the screen and, Can
Well, I need to type.
okay.
Shreevallabha,
Yeah.
you can okay, wait. You can arrange a Google Meet and share your screen. I will share that Google Meet screen to Team screen. I think that might be possible.
Okay, let's check the possibility of it. Have shared thing
Yeah.
there in the meeting chat.
Shreevallabha, I'm going to share the screen for Teams. I hope that everyone is able to see the Shreevallabha screen.
Yes, yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. Shreevallabha, you can continue. We are not able to. We are not audible.
You can see the screen, right?
Yes, Shreevallabha, we are able to see that screen.
Okay.
So now,
Shreevallabha,
I want
switch off the mic in Google Meet. Yeah, switch off the mic and the speaker.
Yes, I have done.
Yeah, now we are able to listen to you and we are able to see your screen.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So what I'm doing is I'm overriding this particular method called, let's take, which one? Well, let's take fan. So when the fan is made to turn on, I need to turn the tube light on. So set fan bool value. So I'm overriding this particular method called fan, set fan. So when set fan is made turn on, so then I'll make set, I'll set the tube light turn on rather than the fan. So this is going to be funny. So I have made fan, right? So let's check. So I have made the fan to turn on, but I'm looking for the tube light status. So tube light status would be true. And if I look for the fan status, it will be false, because yeah, I have made the fan to turn on, but I'm looking for the fan status. Even after I have made it, even after I have made the fan to turn on, but the fan status says it's false. So why is because I have overridden this particular method called set fan. And now what I do is when fan is set on, I want to turn the tube light on. At the same time, even I want to turn the fan on. So in such cases, in order to implement this, we need to use super keyword. So super keyword is nothing but when you inherit a class and you are overriding with some particular method, and then you want to run the method. You want to run the behavior of the parent class and also the child class, which you have inherited the parent class. So now I can make super dot. Which function is this? Tube light, right? No, super dot fan, set fan. and value. So now what happens? Even the fan will turn on and the tube light also will turn on. So let's see both. So you must see true for both. Yeah. So fan is also turned on and tube light is also turned on. So this must have given you a brief overall view of how to implement a class, constructors, and inherit a class, and override a method in a very funny way, and also to implement getters and setters. So now let's go into the last part, that is interfacing. So before you implement interfacing, make sure you know the basic difference between interfacing and inheritance. Inheritance is inheriting the behavior and also the methods of the parent class. So and also the attributes as well. But in interface, it's not like that. So in interface, Dart don't have a syntax for declaring interfaces. Class declarations are themselves interfaces. So classes should use the implement keyword to be able to use the interface. So what I do is I'll create an interface called. Before that, let's create a class called class pointer. So this is a method. So when this method is called, it is going to execute this particular function. So print the data. So now I'll create another class, console printer. So print data. Print the console. Make sure that you implement printer. So I'll create an object for the console printer as cp. And cp dot print data. So yeah, so when you do this, what happens is the console printer is actually implementing this class called printer. And so when you implement a class, what happens is only its methods are, I mean, the sense like only its template has been implemented, but you can't implement this. I mean, you can't execute this behavior of the method. For example, when you implement a particular class called printer to the console printer, you have to make use. I mean, you have to write the behavior for that particular method. So this is how it is. So this is how you can execute. I mean, you can implement interfaces. And now in this session, we have covered from variables, conditional statements, unconditional statements, looping, exceptions, functions, objects and classes, and interfaces, inheritance. So this is what we have done till now. So yes, these are actually these are the basic things that you must be knowing in order to go ahead and create applications with respect to Dart. So coming to the applications and use cases of Dart. So Dart is a client-optimized programming language for apps on multiple platforms. It can be mobile or web or anything, or desktop. It is developed by Google, as you all know, and it is used to develop mobile applications. Flutter is one of such applications. So also used to develop web, as I said, web desktop and server applications. And Flutter is one of the such SDK software development kit that is used to build web applications with beautiful UI design using Dart. So concluding with respect to this Dart session, so here we learned about how to use the Dart programming language, which is a basic that one must learn in order to create something on top of it. For example, if I want to work with Flutter to develop an Android application or an iOS application or web application, so you must be knowing a basics of Dart at least, if not complete into the Dart. So I guess this session has provided you enough knowledge to get to know how Dart works and how programming in Dart is easy. And so I hope this session was clear about how to work with the Dart. And in the next session, we have Himanshu Rajan. So he will be explaining you guys about how to work with Flutter and make use of Dart to create a simple application. So thank you guys. Until then, thank you.
Thank you, guys. That was a wonderful session. Do anyone one of you have any questions? You can type it out in the chat box.
The event would have been better if we had, if I had done this before itself with respect to Google Meet, because there were a lot of glitches with Teams app.
Yeah. It's all right. It went on well.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
Thank you, Vishnu, for your suggestion of changing some Teams to Google Meet.
Thanks.
And also, yes. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, you were saying something, Vallabha?
Yeah, I just concluded the session. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, guys. It was a wonderful session. Okay, so we will be having a short lunch break now. The next session begins at 2:30. So see you all then.